there we go. I'm here. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Mirza, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
That is very good.
Oh, it was a lucky guess.
Yeah,
Um, First of all, I've got a few questions here. I'm going to rattle through just the usual kind of stuff you normally get asked by journalists, I'm sure.
yeah.
And then we'll move on to something a little bit different towards the end, which hopefully you'll enjoy. So something a little bit different. Because I know you'll have done so many of these interviews. I know you get the same questions time and time again. So we'll try and make it a bit more entertaining for you. Um,
Sounds fun.
the first thing I'm going to ask is, like you're a Danish band.
Yes,
Whereabouts in Denmark are you from exactly?
we are all from Copenhagen, Denmark, the main city.
Ah, that's fantastic. A nice, easy one. I actually know where that one is on a map. If you'd have said anywhere else, I would probably have struggled.
Yeah.
So what's the music, particularly the metal scene, like in Denmark for a fairly youngish up and coming band?
Yeah, Denmark is currently thriving, I would say.
Excellent.
Uh, the genre as a whole is getting bigger. The bands play bigger and bigger venues and get more and more into mainstream,
Mhm.
which I believe is a positive thing. We have a very good underground scene, but metal in Denmark has never been bigger than it is right now. So that's something.
That's fantastic. 'Cause, I mean, just over the little causeway, you've got Sweden, which is known historically for particularly black metal and death metal in particular. And Denmark's just one of those ones that, well, that guy who plays drums in Metallica, and that's about it, really. I mean, yeah, there are other Danish
Yeah,
bands, don't get me wrong, but it never seems to be a massive hub of music. But it's really good to hear there's a
no.
lot of up and comers.
We've always historically we've always been behind Sweden and Norway. Uh, it's with Swedes, it's in every music genre. Sweden, the Swedes are just ahead since ABBA came. So that's there's no competition there. But since like 2015, we had Volbeat,
Yeah.
who came out, their Danish band, and since then it's been quiet. But now, um, I see a lot of Danish bands building a presence in Europe and States. We have bands like Vola doing really, really well.
True. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's getting there.
That's good to hear. I mean, you yourselves, Siamese, I'll be perfectly honest, up until about a month, 6 weeks ago, hadn't heard of you. Okay.
Oh,
It was
there we
actually one
go.
of my friends who spotted an advert saying you were playing the Cat House in Glasgow, and she went, "You have got to go and see this band. They're brilliant. I really want to go." So we arranged to go and see you. And what I'm doing a lot these days, I'm finding I'm going in blind to a gig. I'm not looking up your music. I'm not learning some of your songs. I'm going. I want to see what this band is like live. I want to see if they'll win me over. Okay. Long
Mhm.
story short, read our review. Yes, you did. Um,
That,
but how would you describe yourself to someone who is going to come to one of your gigs for the first time? What would you say in terms of music, in terms of your stage show? What would you tell them to expect?
I think the thing that speaks to people about our shows is, first of all, we have a really good crew. So like we tend to sound really good in all forms and shapes. Whatever we play, we have a very good system in place. So that's been our main thing. We wanted to sound good live. That was like the most important stuff. Other than that, I think what draws people in is um, we're very spontaneous and it's very real and it's very on the spot. Um, what I do and what we do is very different almost every night, because it's just where we are. I try my best not to look at it as like a copy paste, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. When you're on tour and you're playing every day, you tend to say the same stuff, you tend to do the same things. I like to be almost like a showman and just you know change it up every time and be very genuine, hopefully genuine and honest about every single day that we're on tour. So some days is a bad day. Maybe I miss my family. That will that will shine through the show. Other days I'm a bit drunk. That will shine through as well. Uh,
yeah,
so every day and every show is a little bit different, and I hope that people recognize this description.
Um, moving on, the show in Glasgow, about 3 weeks ago now, give or take. That was your first headline show in Glasgow.
Yes.
There's at the Cat House, was a cracking venue, and you were talking about having good sound and stuff, and it was absolutely on point. All the bands there, it was an absolute blinder, really good package that you guys put together for that one. I'm going to come back to that shortly. But you did mention that it was about a third of the fourth time you played in Glasgow. Tell me a bit more about that first one, and potentially why it may have put you off coming back to Glasgow. You mentioned you
Oh
got
yeah,
robbed.
I was robbed in Glasgow first time I was there. Uh, but it was nothing serious. We played in a I think we played in a private home or whatever it was. It was definitely not a venue. I
Okay.
don't remember the name even, but it was our very first tour. It was our very first show on tour, and it was with a band called Foes, who are no longer. Um, they were from Liverpool. Um, and we played that show and we were just so excited because there was actually people there. I think there was like 40, 50 people there. Um, and it was crazy. It was the beginning of what was to be because we, as a band, we kind of changed the name and started over in 2015 and in 2016 the tour was going on. And it was just a cracker, man. And it was probably a bad show. Like we probably sounded shit and we didn't have our shit together. We were probably drunk. Uh, because we didn't take stuff too serious back then. We just wanted to get out and see the world. Uh, but yeah, it was my first good experience playing abroad. And then after that followed a huge number of massive disappointments. Just doing every tour we could and everything we could and just fucking playing for no one for so long.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I think there's a story with an awful lot of bands. I think the message is plow through it. If you're into it and this is what you want, you have to go through that to get to where you guys are at and where the next stage and the next stage and so forth. I saw Motionless in White last night, and they basically documented that same thing, that same process that you're telling me about. Obviously, they're further ahead of it than you are now because they've been going for that bit
Yeah.
longer. But they've been through this same thing, and now they're filling out. I mean, they sold out the academy last night. So it's a journey, and it's something that I think, particularly these days, you're not going to make millions off an album anymore. You have to get out there. You have to do the grind. You have to love it.
That's the thing, right? Because I think a lot of people, a lot of bands are very focused on their social media numbers and
Yep.
building that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Uh, but I see we don't have very big social media numbers, but we've been touring so much, and it just means much more in every possible way you can imagine. This is
Mm.
much better than having 100,000 followers. Uh, so yeah, I
Was
agree.
the tail end of last year? Am I right? You were touring the US just before the New
We
Year.
did, yeah, in September.
Yeah. So how many dates did you manage across there?
Oh, like 28 dates. It was
Wow.
38 days. Yeah, it was a long one, especially for me. Like I brought my family on tour,
Oh,
which
fantastic.
helped. Yeah, it helped immensely. And this is something for now I have to do every time.
Mhm.
Uh, it's like when you have your family on the visit, it's like the whole tour starts again once you come back to the touring party. Like when
Yep.
you've been with your family and you just reset, and it's just such a great feeling. And touring doesn't feel that long because it can be pretty torrid
Mhm.
and fucking difficult to tour, and you're around people all the time. The only way you can be alone is to shut off your drapes in that bunk that looks like a coffin. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, it looked to me when you were playing in Glasgow, you were touring with friends there. I want to mention in particular Cold Culture, who you said
Mhm.
they're basically a bunch of students. They took out a loan to help them join on the tour bus or something. I mean, were they a last minute request? Did they ask you if they could join? Did you ask them?
So the band Whole Culture is actually somebody I work with. So I am managing them and I'm releasing their
Cool.
music. So when Black Gold had to pull out, I was just thinking like, who is ready to do a tour like this? Because I've seen them live. who is ready and who has the music that fits the style and folk culture was just one of those bands. And I asked them like between, this was on Christmas Day that I asked them, you join? And they were like, yeah, but we don't have that money. And then I had to, take a call with them and sway them and be like, listen, that money will come back to you
Mhm.
in merch sales and fees and whatever. You just need to take the risk and take the shot. Now is the time. And I am happy to tell you now that since they've come back, we've had two offers for agents who want to work with them, and then also a tour has been offered to them. So you just need to, take a leap of faith and do
Yep.
these things because it will, the investment is worth it, especially when touring with bands and doing a full 4 week tour. That
Yeah.
is that is the best way you can invest in your band.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear as well. Because I mean, they were fantastic. I mean, they were
Mhm.
just as an opening band, you're like, these guys have got it. I mean, without
Yeah,
a doubt. So now, please pass
yeah,
on my best wishes and congratulations to them. And fingers crossed, we'll see
I
them
will
over
for
here
sure.
sometime soon.
I will for
Um,
sure.
moving on. Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, a couple of questions. You've done the US, done UK, a bit of a U touring. Elements is only a few months old. So what's coming up next? Have you got some more tour dates? Or are you looking at starting to write something? But I mean, you've got quite a long way to go before realistically we'd see something else. Maybe you go in the singles route.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But actually, for a while, we don't have a tour uh, planned in the back of the rest of the year. We're working on coming to the States. It was a tremendous experience
Mhm.
being there the first time. So we were really, really working on that. But also, we're looking at trying to make new music in the summer. Um, and yeah, I think maybe it will be a couple of singles before we settle down and try to make an album. I think there's a little bit of soul searching that we need to do in terms of I feel that Elements and Home sounded quite alike.
Mhm.
Obviously, there are some differences, but those albums kind of sound alike. And maybe this time around, I need to be looking at what do I want to do. I think there's loads of bands out there who are doing a really, really good job. I am a massive fan of The Plotting You, Sean Hill, bands like that who are pushing
Yep.
the envelope right now. Um, yeah, and I want to see what they're doing. Be like maybe move even further down that industrial sound that is coming on right now, and I think it's very exciting. I think in general the scene is just thriving with bands that are being innovative
Yep.
and special and so exciting to listen to. It's truly a blessing to be a part of the scene right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a challenge. I can imagine it as a band. You want to be similar enough to your material that you don't throw your fans off, but you also don't want to be doing the same album over and over again. That must be quite a challenge.
Yeah, of course. We've never had the problem actually. I think our fans have been very, I don't know if they're forgiving, but they've been very receptive of what we've given them.
Mhm.
Um, who knows? Maybe it's this time. I don't feel like I want to go crazy. I just feel like I want to be more authentic. I want to be harder. I want to be heavier, and I want to be a little more edgy,
Mhm.
whatever that means. Because we can write the choruses. Choruses is no problem. I think it's what comes around the chorus that I'm trying to figure out in my head. How do I want to package that part before we get to the chorus? I think that's the most exciting part. The textures, the atmospheres that I want to work with. So
Mhm.
that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and we'll certainly be looking out for that. I'm going to go off a complete tangent now. Food. There's a reason
Yeah.
in particular I'm going to ask you this particular question. For some reason, last month I ended up interviewing three bands from Sweden in 3 days. You're near Sweden, so you kind of like you're looking at them from afar. You'll have your criticisms. I've got a major one with the Swedes. I love the Swedes, don't get me wrong, but they put banana on pizza. Now, I'm wondering, is this also a Danish thing, or is this one of these things where you look at the Swedes and you go, what?
Don't put fruit on a pizza, no matter what fruit it is. Don't put apple. Don't put pineapple. Don't put bananas on a pizza. Um, The Swedes, they have those things. They also put cabbage in a kebab, uh, which I think is quite weird. But it's just standard. They put cabbage in the kebab.
Did they have a food problem at
Doesn't
some point where they just like had to eat stuff? And
I don't know, man. It's cold up there, so they gotta make work what they have. I think cabbage is one of those leftover things, but I know very little about Swedish food culture, so I can't really help you with a valid answer. I can just give you my presumptions and my yeah, whatever, my hate for cabbage, basically.
follow on from that, then, is there something that is particularly Danish that we might find a little bit unusual? I mean, the most famous one we've got is the Danish pastries and stuff. They're fantastic. But is there anything that we maybe don't know that is particularly Danish that somebody else might think is a little bit odd?
Yeah, we have. I think I'm a foreigner coming to Denmark, so
Oh,
there's three particular things that I've stumbled upon that are very weird to me. First off is rye bread. Like this country is built on rye bread. So
okay.
everything they do, it's rye bread. That's like very, very important. And like my Danish colleagues, every time we're on tour, the thing they miss most is rye bread. And for me, that's like it looks like burned bread, you
Yep.
know? Obviously isn't, but it looks like burnt bread and it sometimes tastes like that. But I've been converted and I've started eating rye bread. So that will be the first thing. The second thing that's particularly Danish, in my opinion, is this dipping called remoulade. It's like some people eat their fries with ketchup and mayo, and
Yep.
then Denmark they have this addition. I don't know if it's Danish, but it's a remoulade, and it's this egg and and milk kind of whatever, and it's yellow. It's actually almost orange.
Okay.
That's very Danish. You don't get a remoulade anywhere else than in Denmark and maybe in Germany.
Hmm.
And then finally, the last thing is oh, what I completely forgot the last week. Remoulade, rye bread, and um, yeah, I forgot the last thing. I forgot. If I come up with, but remoulade is this thing, and I love it. I really, really fucking love that as well.
Ah, interesting.
Um,
I'll keep my eye out for that next time I'm in Copenhagen. It's been a while, but I'll get back over there at some
go
point.
to a traditional Danish. It's called smørrebrød. I'm doing the English version. Smørrebrød.
Yeah.
And that's traditional Danish food. They'll put like, rye bread, a fish, some onions, some capers, everything. It just sounds disgusting, but somehow it really tastes well. So yeah. Once you come to Copenhagen, I can even show you like the restaurants that I normally go to
Mhm.
for like traditional Danish food. It's weird. It's an acquired taste. But Denmark does have, I think Denmark is restaurant capital number one. I
Oh,
think we're the city that has the most Michelin guided restaurants in the world. Like we had the best restaurant in the world for a couple of years. So food is a quite a big thing in this city particularly.
yeah, fantastic. And it's a lovely city. Like I say, it's 20 years, 19, 20 years since I was in Copenhagen, but still, it's a pretty place, nice place to walk around as well. The weather
You need
wasn't
to
great
come
when I
down,
was there. I remember that much.
you need to come down from the Highlands and visit us. See, Copenhagen is wonderful.
I'll be on the list. Right, our last little bit. I did say something a little bit different at the end. How are you on trivia? And in
Good,
particular, Danish trivia.
good. I think I'm good. I I I like to I like to give off that I'm smart. So I tend to remember a lot of stuff. Um, and I know it's not a lot, but I always beat my girlfriend in trivia. So
Fantastic. I've got five Danish themed trivia questions. Actually, I'm going to ask you, you mentioned earlier on you're a non-Dane who's now settled there. And I should have
yeah,
picked up on the surname as well. Where are you from originally?
I am born in Serbia.
All right.
There's a little Muslim part down Kosovo.
Yep.
Uh, that's where we live. We lived, and I moved to Denmark in '92.
Wow. Okay. So, but you certainly seem to have settled in quite well. So you know the food.
I do.
It's the important thing. Okay, right. Well, we'll see how an imported Dane managers. They're fairly random questions, just see how you get on with them. And again, I've done this with I did this with the Swedes and a few of the other people I've interviewed as well. So the first one is which or what short-range wireless technology is named after a Danish king?
What short range wireless technology is named? Bluetooth, Bloodset, Harald Bloodset.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, well done. It was apparently a code name that they used, and then when they got to the end of it, they were like, that's actually kind of cool. And
Yeah,
even the little rune that they used, the B, is I think it's based on his name or something.
yeah. I can see. I looking at it right now, and that's actually true. I haven't thought about that, but that's obviously a own. Yeah, yeah.
It's quite
That's
clever.
funny.
This one should be fairly easy. What Danish band sang the song Barbie Girl?
That is my good friend René Div in Aqua.
Told you, fairly easy ones. Number three, a little bit more challenging, but it's one you could possibly guess.
Yeah,
What Australian landmark, I'm not going to tell you where it is, somewhere in Australia, was designed by a Dane and opened in 1973?
yeah, yeah. I know, I know. I just can't say the name. I want to say, um, is it Utzon? No. What's his
That was
name?
that
He's
was the name of
big.
the architect. Well done. I was after the name of the building.
Oh, Knut Utzon designed the thing, and the name of the building is.
I'm going to give you the mark anyway because I would never have expected you to know the name of the architect.
I think it's. Isn't it called Opera Utzon? No,
Yep.
no,
Yep.
no.
Sydney Opera House. Yes.
Opera House. Yeah, yeah. Okay, got it.
Yep. Wow. Oh, okay. Well, no, you've impressed me now. I mean, I was going to tell everybody who the architect was, and you were going to go, "Oh,
Hey,
yeah, I've never
if
heard of
you
him."
want to pretend you're clever, you have to know stuff.
You're not pretending.
Thank you.
Okay, another a food question here. What vegetable is caramelized using sugar and butter to make cotefleur, which are probably badly pronounced?
Onions?
It's not. It's a
Ah,
potato.
I've never heard of the dish though. So I don't,
Ah, fair enough. Well,
what is
if
it?
you don't know, you guess.
What is it? What is the dish name?
It begins with K, cotefleur. Kartofler.
Kartoffel.
Could would you have got it if I'd have pronounced it properly?
Yeah, that means a potato.
Oh, it literally means potato, does it?
Yeah, it literally means potato. Yeah, I would have gotten that if it was a kartoffel.
Oh, you know what? For correcting my pronunciation, I'll give you a half. I think that's fair.
Yes, that's cool. I'm with that. I'm with that.
Next one, this one should be an easy one as well. What bridge connects Denmark to Sweden?
Øresundsbroen.
Yep. Which is it's the same word in both languages, I think, and it means straight.
Øresund. I think it's the name of the water.
Yeah. And it's the
The
longest land bridge in certainly in Europe, possibly the world. I think it's long. No, it's the longest
uh,
one in Europe, I think.
I think maybe, yeah, it might be. Or is it Storbæltsbroen? Because we have two bridges. And the other one, I know Storbæltsbroen was the largest bridge built, but only for a month. Then the Japanese, they overtook us and made an even larger bridge. But I think Storbæltsbroen is like 18 kilometers. I
Yeah.
don't know with Øresundsbroen. Maybe it's even longer, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the concept of a bridge that's long to somebody here is just phenomenal. I mean, the longest bridges we've got are, I don't know, a kilometer maybe.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. I mean, there's something which takes you minutes. Something you measure in fractions of an hour to drive across, which is suspended over water, actually gives me the fear.
We have a thing. It's funny in Denmark. We have this thing when we drive. We're trying to drive past Storbæltsbroen.
Mhm.
Uh, we have a competition where you start the song by Phil Collins, "Feel It in the Air Tonight," and you have to start it at a point where then remember the drum solo, ba 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 ba
Ba-dum,
ba ba.
ba-dum, ba-dum,
It
ba.
has to,
Yep.
yeah, it has to hit directly once you're under the big pillars of the bridge. So always like now, and then you just drive and then try to hit that exact moment of the drum solo of ba ba ba. It's a stupid thing we do, but we do it every time we pass that bridge because we have to go play at Jutland, the other side of Denmark. So yeah,
That's
a little bit
fantastic.
of fun game there.
Well, you scored a magnificent and very impressive 4.5. And to be fair, you'd have got 5 if my Danish wasn't rubbish. Um, so very well done. It's been a pleasure. Thank you again for being another band that I have discovered this year that's absolutely blown me away. We very much look forward to seeing you back over. And again, please pass on my thanks as well to Cold Culture for being such a great opening act on that tour as well. And we would bring them back, get them to headline, and you can open, make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, do something else. Yeah, we will. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for doing this interview.
No, you're very, very welcome. And we'll see you the next time we see you.
Cheers. I hope so. Have a nice day.
You too. Take care.